And now joining us in studio, he's a radio show host on KCBQ. I call him the triple threat of real estate, legal, and mortgage advice. This guy is unbelievable. Michael Gaddis joins us in studio to talk about the real estate market, reverse mortgages, which is finance, and some legal stuff as well. You were just on the radio show. Great segment, by the way, we had the other day.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Good stuff, man. How's your show going?
Well, it's going great.
Yeah, you just had a billionaire on there.
I did. I did.
What do you talk about with a billionaire?
Well, I don't know. It was fun. We talked about a development up in North County, but it was interesting.
It's his development?
It's his development. Yeah, so he's Rick Caruso, who is developing the Agua Hedionda project. It's up off of the 5 freeway near Cannon Road.
How's North County doing as a whole? I mean, all housing markets are local, right? But you're positioned up in North County. You do a lot of luxury up there. We interviewed the mayor of Carlsbad with you up there on, what golf course is that?
That was, boy, you just got me, the Crossings.
Yeah, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
I mean, why are we out there interviewing mayors and playing golf?
That was a beautiful golf course.
Who won the putt-off we had? Was it?
Well, technically the mayor did, but because of a technicality I did.
Oh, you took all
the technicality being your ball hit his ball, and and you called it for me, and technically the mayor should have won. For the record, the mayor won the putt-off.
Yeah, if you missed that, I'm sure we have it online somewhere, but we had a little putt-off. It all went to charity anyway. So Michael Gaddis, you host a radio show. I call you the trifecta because you're an attorney. You understand mortgage finance and real estate.
That's right.
The mortgage game. You have some workshops coming up. Also, you're helping people on the reverse mortgage stuff. Help us understand what's going on. Let's start with the reverse, actually, and then we'll talk about the workshop you have coming up. What's going on there?
Well, you know, we do a lot of reverse mortgages right now, both refinances and purchases. A lot of people are utilizing now reverse mortgages for purchases, because what happens when I go into a meeting with somebody regarding a reverse mortgage, one of the questions I ask them is this your forever house? And if they say no, I say, well, why not? What is wrong with this house? A lot of times it could be because the house is too big for them now. It could be because they want to move closer to a loved one. Whatever the case, I tell them, look, if you're going to get a reverse mortgage, you might want to make sure that this might be your forever house in order to do it. So a lot of times people will think about selling their house and then using the funds to buy another house via a reverse mortgage purchase.
What's interesting about those, if you know, there's a lot of cash buyers. If you have to be over the age of 62, right?
That's right.
If you're going to do it. If you have the money to put down, let's say you're going to buy a property cash for $600,000. A reverse purchase can allow you to buy $1 million house, because you can leverage that same money you put down to buy cash, do it on the $1 million house. Either way, you have no mortgage payments. Why not buy the $1 million house? Yes, there's would you call it negative amortization?
It is negative amortization.
So you're adding your payments on, but if, you know, $1 million house going up 5% a year is a lot more than $600,000, and it does maybe make it that forever home. What I like about it as well, and we talked about this on the radio show, is that it can also be a solution. You know, right now we have a crisis with those who are retiring. Was it $10,000 a day?
$10,000 a day.
$1 trillion worth of equity, averaging savings at around $8,000. Explain the reverse on the refinance side.
Well, it'll literally break your heart, some of the stories that I hear. I mean, I hear stories all the time about, you know, people coming in with this net disposable income negative. I mean, they literally are borrowing money from, you know, their kids and family members in order to survive, in order to even pay for the basic necessities of life. But they're sitting on a paid off house or a nearly paid off house, and, you know, they have all of that opportunity to free up that house payment and tap into some of that equity to help, you know, give them a better quality of life.
You know, I wish it was referred to as the home equity conversion mortgage. That's actually what it's called. It was developed under Ronald Reagan. It's a government-insured loan. You're not losing the house. You're not giving it back to the bank. It is a great financial instrument. I relate it to a gun. If I gave a gun to a 5-year-old and I gave the same gun to a Marine, 5-year-old's a little scary. The Marine, if you should feel safe, unless you're a bad guy. Reverse mortgage, if you have somebody who knows what they're doing, a guy like Michael, you can get a lot of great advice, and you can leverage it as a strategic financial instrument. It's a great thing to use. Also in solutions, as we just discussed. So housing market, how's it going up there? It's going pretty well, I know, but the workshop you have coming up here pretty soon?
That's right. I have a buyer's workshop coming up. And what we're doing is teaching people the A to Z of purchasing a home. A lot of people buy homes or get involved in the home buying process without actually understanding the process itself and what they should be looking for. And they rely a lot of times on real estate professionals that should know more and should be educating them more about the process and what needs to be done than they really are. So I'm using my legal background and my real estate background and my finance background to provide these workshops to people so that they can really educate themselves on the entire process from getting pre-qualified to getting the keys.
So when they come to this thing, though, what are the biggest mistakes people make, right? So you're going to teach them all this stuff.
Right.
People need to learn. What do you see out there in the marketplace? Let's keep in mind, when you're not doing workshops, you're actually helping people in the process.
That's right.
What are the biggest mistakes that you see people making?
Well, I think a lot of times, first of all, I don't think people get pre-qualified correctly. I think that a lot of times they just jump into searching for homes or maybe get a tangential type of pre-qual without actually getting pre-approved. And I think that's the first thing. Make sure you understand what kind of house you should be looking at, because a lot of times, when people take oral pre-qualifications, a lot of times they're basing it on what you're telling them about what your income is, but loans are about underwriting. And so you have to really physically look at the documents to see what they can really afford. That's the number one thing.
People are still doing this.
That's right. And the second thing I think that they really make mistakes on is not properly inspecting the property during the escrow period. I mean, not looking at clue reports. Not pushing for going down to the city and when there's when there's additions, making sure that the additions are properly permitted. There's a lot of little things that people would never think about that they should be aware of.
Well, Michael Gaddis, anything coming up on your radio show? Any more billionaires coming on this thing?
No. My next radio show, I have an estate planning attorney coming in and explaining the virtues of planning, for the future.
That's all for our power guest today. Hope you learned a lot. As always, I remind you, if you have questions you want to reach out, go to craigsewing.com, go to the contact form, it emails me directly, and I can respond. And coming up next on the Sewing Says segment, I'm going to do exactly that.